Chapter 9, page 87. When William sneaked up later to see if the lord and lady were all right, Sir Simon was pacing back and forth along the wall walk. "Imagine how you would feel, my boy, if you were sitting down to a nice meal of roasted mouse legs and your entire castle were lifted up and banged about like a mere piece of kindling. I doubt you would take it too kindly. I barely had time to gain the safety of the stable, and Lady Eleanor is not herself at all this evening. She has gone to bed early." "I said I was sorry, Sir Simon. I had no idea my father was coming up here. You have to admit, it's a pretty nice moat and ramp he made. A useful contraption, I dare say." After apologizing a few more times and rearranging the disturbed furniture, William started downstairs. Halfway, he remembered something and came back. The knight was still standing on the wall walk. "Sir Simon, tell me again about the token. If the person wants to be made small, then time isn't taken away from him, is it?" "No. The person would return to his world at the same moment he left." The knight looked at William with a strange expression, but he didn't ask any questions. "Okay, thanks," William said. Their words hung in the air for a moment while neither one moved. William wanted Sir Simon to promise him that if he joined them, he would be sure to come back again, but he knew it was a promise nobody could make to him. "Good night, William," Sir Simon said at last. "Sleep well." "Good night." He had decided he would join them at 4:15 the next afternoon, 1 week from the moment Mrs. Phillips had been standing on the flagstone looking up at him. He went upstairs right after dinner to pack. When he'd finally assembled everything on the bed, it looked like a very odd assortment. 1 recorder, 1 bear, 1 box of candles, 1 toothbrush, 1 jar of Marmite as a peace offering to Mrs. Phillips, 1 box of tea bags, 4 loaves of bread, 2 bottles of water, 1 pair of hiking boots, 1 large box of matches, 1 pair of binoculars, and a change of clothing. He stuffed everything into a backpack and went to bed. His mother came up to kiss him good night. She had been on call all weekend, which meant he had barely seen her. She leaned against the headboard with her arm along the back of his pillow. They often took this time to talk at the end of the day. "Where's Bear? He's usually in on these conversations." "Down at the bottom of the bed. He's cold," William sighed. Another lie. "I hear your father gave you the contraption he made for your castle." "Yes, it's neat." "How did the practice go this afternoon?" "All right, I guess. I'm having trouble with the last part of my floor routine. I haven't been able to do it correctly since Mrs. Phillips left." His mother shifted position to look at him. "I know this week must have been hard for you, adjusting to Mrs. Phillips being gone." William looked at his hands. How much easier it would be if that was all he had to adjust to. "I'm tired, Mom. Big day tomorrow." "All right," she said. "Good night." When she hugged him, he held on to her a moment longer than usual. "You're a great hugger, William," she said as she let him go. The next day, William tried hard to concentrate on his classes so he wouldn't think about what was going to happen to him that afternoon. When he said goodbye to Jason at the end of the day, his friend frowned at him. "You look kind of funny," Jason said. "You feel all right?" William nodded. "I guess so. See you." When he looked back from the corner, Jason was still standing there, his bike leaning against his hip, staring after him. "Sir Simon," William called softly from the top of the attic stairs. The knight appeared in their customary meeting spot on the wall walk near the south tower. He looked a little weary. "Good afternoon, William." "Have you got the token?" "I'm ready to come." The knight looked startled. "Ready?" "Yes. See, I brought my backpack. I hope I thought of everything." "But this is wonderful news, William. I must go tell Lady Eleanor at once." "Sir Simon." William put his index finger across the tower door, bringing the small man up short. "Please don't say anything to her. Please just work the magic quickly before I change my mind. I want to do what she asked. I want to go and see her myself." The small man turned with a new look in his eyes. William liked to think it was respect. "Yes, of course, I understand." He reached into his belt pouch. "I'll meet you at the drawbridge." "Why there?" William asked. The knight smiled up at him. "At your size, from where you're standing, you can reach the drawbridge with 1 step. But when you're small, it will take you considerably longer." The knight disappeared into the south tower to take the stairs. William went and stood at the front entrance of the castle to wait for him. Why couldn't he take back what he'd done to Mrs. Phillips? Then she'd be on her way to England, and the Silver Knight could go on his mad quest by himself. The knight waved up at him from his position by the lever of the drawbridge. When William saw the token held out between the small man's extended hands, he closed his eyes. The hair on his forehead lifted a little in a sudden breeze. "Do it, Sir Simon. I can't wait forever," he cried. "It's done," the voice called in reply. William opened his eyes. He was looking up at the gray walls of the castle. He could see through the lines of the mortar between each square stone, the intricate carvings on either side of the doorway, the chiseled letters of the motto above. Slowly the drawbridge was lowered, a foot at a time. William stood watching as the thick planks came down toward him and settled with a thump into the notch of the outer wall. He walked up the ramp his father had made and waited. The bar slid away from its place, and slowly the double doors were opened. Sir Simon appeared at the entrance, his arms outstretched. "Enter, young William," was all he said.